Gabimaru has officially lost his marbles, throwing hands with the immortal beast Chobe. We just witnessed the most nightmare-fueled transformation in Hell's Paradise history. Pull up and check the vibes of Season 2 Episode 1 right now. Fam, don't forget to smash that like button, sub, and share so I can keep dropping these spicy bangers for y'all. The episode kicks off with the Big Boss Council acting all high and mighty. Facing these powerful boomers are two Yamada executioners. And look who it is, the CEO of procrastination and the literal gaslight king, Yamada Asaemon Jika. The officials are like, why are you the only one who made it back to the group chat? Where's the rest of the squad? What's the tea on that island? Jika starts yapping immediately. He tells the whole lore about rounding up the felons to find the Elixir of Life and pairing them with the Yamadas. He claims he was with Chobe, and after Chobe soloed a monster to save him, he basically dipped. But then he pulls the "it wasn't my fault" card, claiming the waves literally yeeted him back to the mainland, leaving him washed up on the shore. The officials are like, Cap, did you even go there? 60 people are missing and you're just standing there vibing like nothing happened. Jika drops the mic with, I don't know much, but no cap, that island is trippy as hell. It's straight up a glitch in the Matrix, not even from this world. Only low IQ NPCs would voluntarily go there. The officials are absolutely fuming, ready to cancel Jika's life subscription right then and there. Luckily, the serious executioner next to him starts apologizing like crazy, taking the L for the whole clan. Right before they can flame him more, a big boss official pulls up and tells everyone to chill because the journey was a whole struggle. But don't worry, Jika's trash attitude is definitely living rent-free on their hate list now. Next up, the Shogun drops a decree. It basically says, y'all are flopping hard. Now I'm sending a second team to the island to check the vibes properly. And the one chosen to lead team 2? It's Shugen, that super serious dude who's been sitting next to Jika the whole time. Jika and Shugen head out, and Jika starts yapping again, man, this sucks, we're just pawns for the higher-ups. Shugen is totally fed up and roasts him, can you actually lock in for once? You're a samurai but your attitude is giving bratty middle schooler. Turns out, Shugen is just salty because he has to fill Aizen's shoes. Shugen asks if there are any top-tier criminals left to sacrifice. He leaks the tea that he's dragging the Stone Village ninjas along. Friendly reminder, these guys literally spawn-killed every other candidate during the selection round. Shugen picks 4 ninjas, and here's the ultimate plot twist, the final boss of the Stone Village wants to go too, saying, I'm old and forgetful, let me go so I can remember stuff. Bro really used the senior moment card to pull up. Absolute menace behavior. Shugen tries to force Jika to go back to the island, but Jika is like, nah fam, I'm good. I ain't about that life. Then suddenly, Shugen gets all emotional and starts sobbing like a total crybaby. Aizen promised to drop the status report on day 2, and it's already day 3 with 0 notifications. Tenza, Senta, and Sajiri are probably getting cooked out there. I can't just sit here and vibe while they're in danger. Jika sees that bro is way too deep in his feels, so he just nods along like I'd chill, just to get him to stop. While they're walking, a servant calls them back to ask what to do with the corpse. Turns out, Jika actually brought a souvenir back, a whole-ass monster from the island. Shugen pokes the body and drops a stone-cold line, it's dead. 0 signs of life, the vibes are gone. After that, Team Shugen goes to meet those 4 shinobi to gear up for what's basically a group self-delete mission to the island. Cut to a random Civics 101 class but for Chi. Some purple-haired Tensen is out here preaching, Tao is literally life, besties. If you want to use Tao, you gotta sacrifice your body and soul. It's a whole trade-off, no cap. Suddenly, the pink-haired baddie Tao FA pulls up and interrupts like, stop yapping, let's go party already. The whole squad moves to a spot that looks like a straight-up 5-star resort, we're talking bougie pools and loud music, total main character vibes. So, the purple-haired one is Rain and the pink-haired one is Tao FA. They basically created this whole lounge to grind 4 Tao in the most chill way possible, through partying, swimming, and some SUS extracurricular activities. Basically, these guys are buffing their power levels just by living their best lives. Ju Fa the blonde and Ju Jin, the one who boxed with Gabimaru last season, are also there vibing in the mix. Meanwhile, Sajiri, Yuzuriya, and the rest of the gang are currently squatting in the Tensen castle. The whole squad got a wardrobe glow-up with some new skins, and they're looking a bit different but low-key slaying. Sajiri is still on her serious mode grind, reminding everyone that the goal is to find Gabimaru in May. Since Gabi is still hunting for that Elixir of Life, he's definitely finna pull up to the castle sooner or later. Yuzuriha claps back immediately, why do we even need to meet them? Let's just find the potion and dip. This place is crawling with monsters and Tensens, it's sketchy AF. Sajiri sees right through her though, stop being so extra. You know damn well there's no potion, you just want a big squad to use as meat shields, don't you? Exposed. But Yuzuriha stays totally unbothered. Sajiri grabs Yuzuriha's hand with that wholesome bestie energy and locks in the deal. We're all leaving this place alive, including Gabimaru. Yuzuriha softens up after hearing that and adds, actually, I think Gabi was already here. Look at those scorch marks and that wrecked gate, he definitely went hard in a fight. Heading to the gate is the move. She even low-key shades Sajiri about the whole Gabimaru's wife situation. Meanwhile, Team Gabimaru is scaling the heights to reach the Tensen castle. Uncle Gantetsusai is grumbling the whole way up like, I don't see no castle, are we getting scammed or what? But Little May is like no cap, confirming they're on the right track. Our boy Gabimaru, on the other hand, is currently in full-on brain-dead mode. He's just muttering, who am I? Where am I? Why am I even here? To him, this whole mission feels pointless AF, he can't even remember who gave him the orders or what his motivation was. Fuji sees Gabi glitching out like a total NPC and checks in like, yo, you good, bro? Gabimaru is still out here with 1% brainpower loading, then boom. The Aza brothers have entered the chat. Chobe spots the competition and immediately chooses violence, no talk, just hands. Gabimaru's reflexes are cracked, though, he reacts in 0.1 seconds and snaps Chobe's neck like a glowstick. Crunch. Everyone thought it was GG, but Chobe stands back up like he just woke up from a nap. 0 damage. May screams, watch out, his Tao is straight up broken. Chobe then grabs Gabimaru and starts ragdolling him like a cheap plushie. Gantetsusai and Fuji are standing there shook, like, did this man just heal a snapped neck in 4K? Is he hacking? Gabimaru remembers the immortal beast rumors and realizes, yup. This is the final boss. He tries to capture Chobe to get the tea, but Chobe is way too tanky. Gabimaru starts doing that creepy-ass laugh mid-fight, which Chobe finds annoying AF, so he starts pummeling him. Gabimaru spams an infinite combo of kicks to Chobe's eyes and throat. Even Chobe is low-key surprised a human can be this much of a freak. Gabimaru literally goes savage mode and bites Chobe's neck out. Fuji is on the sidelines like, this is straight up National Geographic, they're fighting like animals, I'm scared. Gabimaru remembers his chief's advice, just keep swinging until the enemy is deleted from the server. But Chobe is built different, he just keeps regenerating and treats Gabi's hits like a light tickle. Then, Chobe pulls the Uno reverse card and starts beating the absolute brakes off Gabimaru. Gantetsusai finally clocks it, Gabimaru is officially falling off. May sees it too, Gabi's Tao is straight up bugged. The lore says Tao only works when strong and weak are in sync. But since Gabimaru has 0 brain cells left and even forgot his own waifu, his stats are tanking hard. He's not that OP main character anymore. Even Gabimaru feels like he's been nerfed into the ground and it's a total struggle bus. Chobe decides he's done playing and tells his little bro Toma to clean up the trash. Toma tries to pick on Gantetsusai, thinking he's an easy target since he's down an arm. Gantetsusai is not having it and loses his mind. You really think I'm mid just because I'm missing a limb? You thought. He delivers a massive headbutt that literally yeets Toma across the map. Gantetsusai starts flexing hard, I'll catch these hands with you even without a sword. I don't need a weapon to make you hold this L. Toma tries to use his speed to outplay him, but Gantetsusai has that veteran pro player energy and lands every single hit, no misses, just pure violence. Gantetsusai starts clowning him, looking at that baby face, I already know you've been a total Nippo baby hiding behind your brother's back since day one. Your fighting style is straight up mid, it's actually embarrassing. Toma gets super salty and claps back, basically telling the old man to a CFU. He's writing for his brother until the very end. To him, they're a symbiotic duo, he's literally a DLC extension of his brother. Gantetsusai realizes the kid actually has some potential, though, he's cooking and learning the meta surprisingly fast. Realizing he's getting cooked in the 1v1, Toma orders his monster minion to snatch Mei and delete Fuji. Fuji unsheathes his blade, tells Mei to get behind him and take cover, and prepares to lock in for the combat. It's about to go down. Back to the main lobby, Gabimaru vs Chobe. Chobe's thinking this dude is clingy AF, but still a total small fry compared to him. With his Tao, Chobe is literally using wall hacks to read Gabi's moves, plus he's got that broken passive health regen. We get a quick flashback where a monster right before Chobe sent it to the lobby confessed that Chobe's Tao is a limited edition rare drop, absolutely cracked and high tier. Gabi is getting absolutely cooked, and he remembers his chief's toxic motivation, a ninja doesn't just die like a loser, if you're going down, you better drag the other guy to the shadow realm with you. So Gabi decides to go full send, he sets himself on fire. Chobe just smirks. Being cocky AF, like, is this your ULT? You really gonna self-delete just to kill me? Massive L, bro. Ignoring the trash talk, Gabi uses the flames and charges in for a spicy death hug to roast Chobe alive. And guess what? This big brain play actually works. Chobe realizes his HP regen is lagging big time and he starts to get shook. He screams, "You're gonna log out of life right along with me, you absolute psycho." Gabi's response is stone cold. IDGAF. I don't even remember what this mission is for anyway. If I die, the organization will just send another clone to replace me. For us shinobi, individual life is completely meaningless. I've got nothing left to lose. And mark my words, those who are still simping for survival can never truly defeat death. Straight up menace energy. Gabi really said 0 F's given to his own life. Hearing Gabimaru's "I don't give a damn" philosophy, Chobe decides it's time to pop off. He taps into his hidden potential, remembering exactly how to unleash his full power. Chobe screams, "Bet. I don't have anything to lose either. I can lose everything, I don't need anyone except my brother." Quick side quest update, Fuchi already finished his fight and absolutely clapped that Doshi monster. Back to the main lobby, Chobe starts his final evolution. He sheds his human form and turns into a massive, nightmare fuel monster, straight up body horror. He's standing there like a literal final boss, towering over Gabimaru. Even Gabi is low-key sweating and looking shook. And right as Monster Chobe is fully revealed, the episode ends. Peak cliffhanger energy. So, what did y'all think of the Season 2 premiere? Was it a banger or what? Make sure to smash the like button, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for the next drop. Peace out, fam. In the high-tension cliffhanger from the last episode, Gabimaru is currently in a cuddle session with Chobe, prepping his fire ninjutsu to literally deep-fry his opponent. However, Chobe isn't some mid-tier mob. In a clutch or kick moment, the image of his little brother Toma flashes before him, triggering the Bandit King's survival instincts. Chobe toggles monster mode, mutating into a giga-sized entity thanks to the power of Tau, a form that possesses a dangerously broken regeneration stat. As soon as the transformation finishes, Chobe starts spamming tentacles everywhere. Gabimaru counters with his Fire Tornado special, and the battle escalates instantly. One side is whipping tentacles like a maniac, the other is fire-breathing like a dragon on a 24/7 grind. But mid-scrap, Chobe starts feeling a massive system error. He stares into the darkness, losing sight of Gabimaru, only seeing a void-like black circle spinning in front of his eyes. Getting tilted by the second, Chobe starts screaming like a total crash-out, treating Gabimaru as his day-one hater even though he can't even tell who he's fighting anymore. Observing from the sidelines, the one-eyed UNC Tamiya remarks that Chobe is basically looking like burnt-out ash and wonders why Gabimaru hasn't just used Tau to finish the lobby. The lowly May drops the skill-issue truth bomb. Gabimaru has lost his memories and literally forgot how to use Tau, while Chobe's Tau is so cracked that Gabimaru is getting absolutely ratioed. Gabimaru himself knows that if this fight drags on, it's GG. He decides to run back his ascetic flame move, a full send, all-in or nothing gamble. With the mindset of a true gamer, he figures if he dies, someone else will just respawn to fill his slot, so he has to clear the obstacles before logging out. His only objective now is to delete Chobe. That mission is higher priority than his own life bar. Just as he's about to dash in for the last hit, a mysterious shadow spawns in to block his path. Even with the memory wipe, a familiar vibe makes Gabimaru buffer for a split second. But the crash-out blood is pumping, so he ignores the feelings and prepares for a 1v1 to the death. Witnessing this, UNC Tamiya sighs, thinking Gabimaru has officially lost his brain cells, while the Dr. Fuchi notes that he probably just wants to be released. But what's the point if you're dead? Both of them are just fighting in a void. In a corner of the war zone, Toma is crying his eyes out. He realizes his brother has turned into a monster, suffering and fighting like a beast all for his sake. Toma starts flaming himself for being too weak to help his big bro. In his madness, Chobe's tentacle accidentally tags Toma. He low-key recognizes him, but his berserk mode almost makes him land a game-over punch on his own brother. Toma is crying and apologizing, screaming for his brother to wake up, claiming his big bro is his entire world. In the middle of this brotherly drama, Gabimaru sees a golden hour opportunity, thinking that since they're bunched up, he might as well yeet them both to the lobby at the same time. Seeing Gabimaru prepping his ultimate nuke, the squad, including May and Tamiya, is forced to jump in as meat shields. At this moment, Little May checks Gabimaru's energy bar and is absolutely shook to find his Tau has dropped to 0. This is a total power down moment. He's about to log out of the world for real. Without buffering, May decides to drop her ulti, using her power to make the ground shake with giga intensity. Gabimaru gets distracted and loses his momentum. Result, Chobe falls straight into the massive pit created by May, while Toma luckily gets snagged at the top. Even while freefalling, Chobe still managed to scream a message to his bro to wait for his comeback. UNC Tamiya rushed over telling May to stop it, but the kid was already out of juice and fainted on the spot. Meanwhile, the Dr. Fuchi was still busy cuddling monster samples for his research, buffering, and wondering what the hell was even happening. But the biggest plot twist was Mei's transformation. The little lowly from yesterday just hit a glow up in a blink, now looking like a full-grown young woman. Witnessing this, Tamiya and Fuchi were absolutely shook by the top-tier visuals, only able to yap about how Canada magic this place was. At the same time, the blind goat Cheyenne heard some sus noises, suspecting some uninvited guests had entered the lobby. The baddie Yuzuri has started complaining about the island's lore, wondering who would actually be bored enough to build this cursed place. The head, Hoko, started overthinking the island's nature, claiming this place is a giga-sized lab, an artificial island used to play a survival test on all creatures. Humans clearing the map and deleting the Tensen is changing the island's code, making even him feel like he's evolving along with it. Right as they stepped out of the gate, Team Sagiri bumped into Team Gabimaru, and the scene was looking pretty clunky. Fuchi had Toma and Adoshi tied up like sausages, Mei was wearing Tamiya's coat, and Tamiya was carrying Gabimaru like it was a casual stroll. The two teams stared at each other, totally confused about what kind of side quests the others had been through. Hoko asked if Mei had used her powers, and hearing a detached head start a yap session made Fuchi jump, panicking that a head could still spit bars without a body. Hoko thanked everyone for reuniting him with Mei, then asked for a status report on the monster mobs. Tamiya flexed that he'd cleared the mobs, while Fuchi was still buffering over the talking head. At this point, Hoko actually started glazing the humans. In thousands of years, nobody had ever pulled off what they did, killing Sashin, capturing Doshi, and even sending the Tensen to the lobby. Hoko believed they could actually rewrite the island's destiny. Afterward, Fuchi stood at Senta's grave, reflecting on the old lore and getting a bit teary-eyed. The whole squad gathered to count the survivors, and Cheyenne realized out of a whole horde, only 8 players were left. Cheyenne urged everyone to evac the castle, but Sagiri dropped the sad news: Gabimaru is currently bedridden and Mei's battery is at 0. Seeing the adult version of Mei, Sagiri was absolutely shook and gave her a giga hug. Cheyenne was overthinking because so many people had logged out in just 3 days, but Tamiya shut that down instantly, arguing they came here for a battle royale, not a friendship summer camp. Tamiya pointed at Toma and started roasting him, calling him a green tea nope, a poisonous snake who loves to backstab, wondering why they were keeping him alive when he's been on mute this whole time. Tamiya declared that if everyone else was too scared he'd finish the job himself. Hearing Tamiya wanting to execute Toma, Sagiri rushed in to gatekeep the situation. She declared that they still don't know what they're up against, and she's already tired of watching people log out of the server. Sagiri gave the order: unless Toma tries to stab them, nobody is allowed to kill him. Tamiya was surprised by Sagiri's boss attitude, low-key mocking her by saying she's got clout for a pick-me girl. Both sides pulled their swords and started dog-walking each other with their eyes, until Yuzuriha had to jump into the middle to stop the friendly fire, asking if they really wanted to combat internally during an emergency. Turning back to Gabimaru, everyone crowded around to see if the man was still alive. Sagiri says they need to heal him immediately because Gabimaru is currently unconscious. Tamiya drops a truth bomb, claiming he didn't pass out from his wounds, but because Tamiya punched him. Cheyenne notes that's possible, but the main issue is Gabimaru overdosed on Tau, basically overclocking his CPU until it fried. Fuchi is done, saying he can stop the bleeding on the outside, but the inside is absolute mush. The problem is at the core. Suddenly, Gabimaru spawns back to life. His brain is lagging, his mana is empty, and he's surrounded by strangers. He mutters that he's fine and tells everyone to leave him alone. Yuzuriha sighs and remarks that his toxic, unbothered attitude is still exactly the same as always. Cheyenne warns him that those wounds won't just self-heal, no capping. Gabimaru still insists he's fine. Sagiri asks who he is, and Gabimaru answers like a bot: I am Gabimaru the Hollow. The second he finishes yapping, Cheyenne and Fuchi launch an attack because they sense his crash-out hater energy. Sagiri realizes Gabimaru's Tau has a system error, making his memories look like a corrupted file. She confirms this isn't the Gabimaru she used to stan. Cheyenne checks with sound waves and confirms his soul is being seriously eroded. Sagiri analyzes that Gabimaru has been fighting non-stop since losing the team: no food, no sleep, just a 24/7 grind. Meanwhile, Gabimaru feels completely empty inside. He's about to eat Sagiri but buffers because she looks familiar. Seizing the golden hour, Sagiri confirms he's lost his memories, but Tau can fix the bug. She tells him to trust her because she's a mutual, not an enemy. Remembering their day one struggle, Sagiri is determined to save Gabimaru no matter what. Despite Gabimaru struggling, Sagiri climbs on top of him to hold him down. Gabimaru is shook, thinking, this girl is low-key cracked. Sagiri keeps holding him, saying it's fine if he forgets everything, but the team needs him right now, so he needs to lie still and let her cook. The scene of Sagiri pinning Gabimaru down to pump blood has the whole squad buffering for 5 seconds. Tamiya asks Fuchi if this is some NSFW technique or adult-only business. Fuchi denies it, while Mei blushes and says it's actually kind of close. In reality, Sagiri is using her own body as a charging station to refill Gabimaru's Tau. Yuzuriha is surprised Sagiri would save a death row inmate. Cheyenne notices their Tao has a weird connection, a vibe sync that outsiders just won't get. Thanks to the assist, Gabimaru slowly recovers, feeling his main character's strength returning to his system. Sajiri asks him if he really has nobody to remember to help fully restore himself. This specific question triggers the broken fragments of memories about Gabimaru's Puki, his beloved wife. Shifting to Asachobe, after falling into the abyss, he magically heals his own wounds like he's got God mode enabled. He realizes Tao is a double-edged sword, use it too much and you lose your mind. But Chobe is hyped, thinking if he masters this meta, he can solo the entire island. Right then, a horde of mobs spawns in. Chobe treats them like free meat shields to test and grind his Tao. Back in the cave, Tamiya roasts Cheyenne for being a scaredy cat, but Cheyenne stays on high alert, worried the Tensen might raid them. Yuzuriha explains that the Tensen are like zombies, you can't delete them, and if you manage to log out one like Mudan, the rest will smell the blood. Cheyenne asks Gabimaru if he ever went solo against them at the gate, and he nods. Sajiri is hyped that Gabimaru's memory is finally loading. Gabimaru apologizes for his hallucination moment and notes that the Tensen control Tao, making them an insane difficulty matchup. Yuzuriha starts yapping about surrendering early to stay safe. But Gabimaru blocks that, declaring he has to survive to get back to his wife and he needs that pardon certificate to clear his name. Yuzuriha hits him with the gaslighting, asking if his wife is even real or just a Canada magic illusion created by the chief. Is there even anyone named Yui? Gabimaru is speechless for a second, but then remembers every HD detail about her, the voice, the smell of her hair, the smile. He confirms his wife's name is Yui, she's authentic, not an illusion. His only objective is to survive this battle royale to see her again. Sajiri smiles in support. Tamiya grumbles that it's always about the girl, but eventually, he agrees and goes along with the plan. Cheyenne remarks that the wife is both Gabimaru's critical hit weakness and his infinite buff source. Back to Asachobe, after farming the monster mobs like they were nothing, he gets spooked by a shadow standing behind him. It's Rain, the final boss of the Tensen, who coldly asks, "Are you the one who uninstalled Mudan?" The episode ends on this cliffhanger, leaving everyone breathless. Remember to like and sub to see the next VOD. Bye bye. The story picks up right at the cliffhanger from the last episode. While Asachobe was just vibing and taking a stroll, Rain suddenly appeared right on his 6. Rain, a Tensen with that "I'm better than you" energy, casually asked if Chobe was the outsider who sent Mudan to the afterlife lobby. Before Chobe could even try to yap his way out of it, Rain lunged in to start some physical violence. However, our boy Chobe is no mid-tier player, his healing factor is so cracked it's basically instant, making Rain look at him like, okay, this one's built different. High-tier loot spotted, I'm keeping you. In another lane, Fuchi has poor Doshi by the neck. Initially, Dr. Fuchi wanted to vivisect this guy for some science fair research, but since he wasn't really feeling the vibe today, he decided to let the noob keep his pathetic life. After letting Doshi go, the squad's vibe got super tense because Mei was still bedridden and refusing to recover. Everyone assumed she was just exhausted from spamming her skills too hard, but Yuzuriha started having a midlife crisis about Mei's true identity. Realizing the secret was out, Fuchi decided to leak the tea. This girl is the real deal, one of those top-tier Tensens. The whole group looked at Mei like she was a literal alien. Fuchi made his final offer, he'd try his best to heal her despite his trash-tier equipment, but in exchange, Mei had to spill all the tea on the other Tensens. Yuzuriha started hating on Mei's quiet aesthetic and limited vocabulary, but Fuchi didn't care and dragged everyone off to help craft some meds. Cut to the martial arts tournament of Team Gabimaru, Cheyenne, Toma, and Gantetsushi. Gabimaru gathered his 500 bro and dropped a bombshell. His memories are back, but his assassin instincts are currently lagging, so he needs the boys to help him gym to get his form back. Basically, he wants everyone to gang up on him for some high-intensity training. Gantetsushi was absolutely triggered after hearing that, feeling insulted that he was being treated like a glorified punching bag. But Gabimaru wasn't sweating it, he even turned around to troll Toma, baiting the kid to come get some. Seeing the atmosphere get heated, Gantetsushi lost his cool, sliced Toma's ropes, and rallied the boys to go and jump this shorty ninja. Stepping into the combat, Gabimaru was fighting while big-braining the situation. After the showdown with Doshi and Aza, he realized that without using Tao, he'd have zero chance against these monsters, but overusing it would literally make him lose his mind. Now was the time to test the perfect dosage. Gabimaru decided to close his eyes to feel the flow of Tao. He yeeted Toma away and dodged Gantetsushi's heavy hits like they were light as a feather. Even though Gantetsushi is strong AF, with the Tao buff active, Gabimaru found the fight much easier to breathe in. He had an epiphany, those Tensens have been grinding for thousands of years, so trying to outskill them in Tao control is a noob move. The only way is to use their own force against them, the classic Uno reverse card. After a round of finessing and blowing everyone away, Gabimaru concluded that this is the key to counter those immortals, though Cheyenne, watching from the sidelines, was still 50-50 on whether this guy was actually legit. While Gantetsusai was just standing there scratching an itch because he didn't get to go all out yet, Toma scurried over and bowed down to request a mentorship. The kid wanted to learn real-deal combat swordsmanship for survival, not just for some petty revenge. Seeing Gantetsusai still looking suspicious, Toma decided to go big. He grabbed his sword and sliced off his long, flowing hair to prove he was dead serious. Then, the boy applied some hair gel and styled his hair exactly like his big bro Azacho before sulking after his reluctant master, determined to get enough carry potential to save his brother. Back to the bloodbath between Azachobe and Rain. Chobe was basically breathing through an oxygen tank at this point. Realizing that Rain is completely outleveled and way cracked compared to that noob doshi from earlier. He's definitely one of the raid bosses here. Rain casually blocked his path, asking about the hybrid Tao inside Chobe's body, wondering how he swallowed the flowers without turning into a mindless monster and managed to keep his consciousness intact. Deciding to check his opponent's durability, Rain unleashed a relentless barrage of attacks. Chobe was dodging for his life, knowing his win rate was basically zero, but because he's naturally salty, he decided to go all in. Keeping a cold head to protect his brain, Chobe transformed into a monster, just like when he fought Gabimaru, to counterattack. The sudden burst of speed and power left even Rain with a jaw-dropped look. Chobe took the chance to start bragging, aiming straight for Rain's Tanden weak point and tearing it open. Boom! Rain's stomach was shredded, and Chobe was feeling himself, thinking he'd found a game bug to secure the win. But life had other plans. Just as Chobe ran out of mana and tried to revert to human form, oh my god, Rain was still standing right behind him. And it wasn't just one, a whole squad of Rain's clones appeared, flexing his ability to shapeshift however he wants. Rain declared Chobe a rare specimen that needed to be conserved, then gave him a light bonk that knocked him out cold, ready to be hauled back to the castle for some lab research. The episode continues with Chobe in a dream sequence giving his little bro some advice, but when he wakes up, he finds himself tied up like a roast pig on a bed in the middle of some ecological garden. Rain reappears, this time in a femme fatale skin, praising Chobe's body like crazy. To her, Chobe's physique is a masterpiece, a 1-inch to 1,000-year perfect specimen that she's dying to research. To keep the vibe from getting dull, Auntie Rain decides to go big by dropping her clothes right in front of him. This bold move gave Chobe a massive culture shock, and he stammered in total confusion, asking if this old lady was trying to devour him the second they met. But Rain kept a straight face and told Chobe he had a dirty mind. She explained that this is Bachu Jutsu, basically dual cultivation, a method of using the body to circulate Tao and heal the opponent's wounds, not whatever SUS stuff he was thinking about. Rain started yapping through a whole civics and ethics lecture about the 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Basically, these elements have a rock-paper-scissors relationship, and if your system is bugged, you have to use the physical contact method to patch it and buff your Tao. Chobe's brain was officially glitched from the info dump, and while he was struggling to break free, Rain dropped the ultimate line: total synchronization is the only way it works. Whatever style you like, I'm down. Even though he was in a weak spot, Chobe stayed hardcore and shut her down, demanding she explain the who, what, and why of this cursed island and the Tencent's true endgame. Meanwhile, the camera cuts back to Team Fuchi and the squad, where an accidental general biology class is in session. Based on Mei's leaked testimony, Fuchi started dropping some bombshells. Turns out, this entire island and the Tencents are the creations of a guy named Jifuku, yeah, the legendary Sufu himself. This guy came from the mainland, obsessed with the immortality grind. According to Taoist theory, everything spawns from Tao, so that old man Jifuku spent his time researching, vivisecting, and crossbreeding every creature under the sun on this island. After $and failed experiments that went completely sideways, he finally cracked the formula for immortality. The result of that mad science project was the birth of the Tencents, a hybrid life form that's half human, half plant. These guys are gender fluid, they can switch between male and female skins whenever they want, just by toggling their Tao control. They've been vibing here for 1,000 years, constantly grinding their cultivation to maintain their visuals and power. Fuchi continued the knowledge drop, explaining that to maintain their immortality, they use breathing and meditation techniques called inner and outer elixirs to buff their physical stats. Yuzuriha and Sajiri were absolutely jaw-dropped, unable to believe the Elixir of Life was actually a real thing. Fuchi adjusted his glasses and corrected them. Actually, it's still just a beta version called Tan. Basically, the Tencents extract humans like they're squeezing sugarcane to get that life juice, then mix it with their own Tao. The reason? Their Tao is like a degraded phone battery, it drains way too fast and can't stay at 100% for long. So, they're forced to go around blood-sucking others just to renew their life subscription. If they run out of Tao, they either get deleted or get insta-killed. When Yuzuriha wondered why they aren't satisfied yet despite being loaded with Tan, Mei spoke up and leaked the deep-seated reason: it's likely due to the final will of the ultimate boss, Grandmaster Jifuku. Fuchi continued the once-upon-a-time story. Back in the Qin dynasty, the emperor wanted to be immortal, so he sent Su Fu to find the elixir. This guy gathered 3,000 VIP pro young men and women and 100 master craftsmen, then basically ghosted the emperor and escaped to this island to grind research for 1,000 years. The result of that massive kidnapping project is the Tensons and the freaky ecosystem we see now. Parallel to Fuji's storytelling, Rain was also giving a multi-level marketing pitch to seduce Chobe. She claimed this island is actually just an incubator, a nursery for immortal beings. Those tree people, the Hoko, are just human-powered security cameras used for observation, while the Tensons are limited edition items, crossbred from Grandmaster Jifuku's Tao and plant-based Tao. Chobe listened to the whole thing and was like, sounds simple enough, but Rain immediately shut him down. Manipulating matter is easy, but manipulating life itself is hardcore mode. That's why Chobe's human-type Tao is such a rare drop that Rain is literally drooling to study it. Rain dropped her final recruitment pitch, partner up with me, and I won't turn you into meds. I'll let you reach perfection right alongside me. Chobe's brain started calculating fast. Right now, he can't win the 1v1 and he can't escape, so, might as well close the deal. Thinking about his little bro Toma, he decided to sacrifice his bachelorhood and agreed to the Bachu Jutsu, but on one condition: Rain has to teach him how to master this Tao stuff. Because he's not about to stay a useless noob at the bottom of the social ladder. So, the two of them got down to business, doing some high-intensity cardio and experimental maneuvers. Rain was absolutely glowing because Chobe's Tao was straight-up premium quality. Back with the main squad, the drama started hitting hard. Right in the middle of the convo, Mei suddenly collapsed, and her arms started growing roots and turning into wood. She broke down in tears, confessing her body is basically a faulty unit. Every time she spams her Tao, she starts turning into a tree. She can't self-heal because back in the day, that jerk Rain literally shattered her tendon. Turns out, Rain used to be Jifuku's student but then went dark mode, backstabbed the master, and tormented Mei until she had to ghost them and run away. Now, Mei is about to officially reincarnate into an actual tree. Uncle Hoko decided to step up and declared, "Take my Tao and use it." Despite Fuji's warning that doing this would mean instant game over. Hoko just gave a sad smile and shared his Ultra Sui backstory. Years ago, his wife and kids all turned into trees, and the whole village was wiped out. When he found Mei, she looked exactly like his late daughter, so he adopted her on the spot. Even though he knew Mei was a Tenson and wanted to leave, he was selfish and just wanted to play house to have a family again, so he ignored everything just to keep her by his side. Hoko cried a river, apologizing for only seeing Mei as a substitute, and said now was the time to redeem himself by sacrificing his life. Mei burst into tears too, insisting they were a real family and their father-daughter bond was 100% legit. But with no other choice, Mei had to drain Hoko. She reverted to her healthy lowly form, while Hoko faded into nothingness. Mei sobbed as she said goodbye to her great foster father, closing out a segment full of tears. What did my 500 bro think about this episode? Give the shop a like, a subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Bye-bye. The episode kicks off with the higher-ups sitting on a bed of hot coals because it's been 2 days and nobody has shipped that immortality elixir back yet. Getting restless, the old geezers decided to go big or go home by sending another squad to the island. This team consists of 4 Yamada executioners, a bunch of Stone Village ninjas, and 50 homies acting as sidekicks and water boys. It's supposed to be a support team for the OGs, but honestly, nobody knows if they're coming to help or just to be a total nuisance. Shujen looked at this massive crowd and just shook his head like, are these old farts high? Sending this many people to the island is just providing more snacks for the monsters. And those ninjas definitely have a hidden agenda. An official asked Shujen, you see any red flags, bro? The island is full of raid bosses, can we even manage this many people? The boss was also sus about 2 random characters who didn't even have a rank in the clan. Shujen started a light flex, chill out, boss. Young blood Kayamara might be a brat and rankless because he's underage, but his skills are cracked, he's literally top 2 in his class. And sister Isuzu over there? She's the Shogun's martial arts instructor, she's a literal tank. She might not have a rank, but she's got that premium quality certification. As for Jika, well, his skills are decent, he's just lazy as hell. Shujen kept his cool and declared, we're going there to save our Yamada brothers, not to play babysitter for you guys. Little Kayamara got triggered and started poking, what, old man? You looking down on us just because we're rankless? Want me to show you some basic moves and blow your mind? Isuzu had to step in before the kid pulled out his strap and started poking people. The old boss looked at them like, where on earth did these monsters come from? Suddenly, the drama peaked. A masked dude among the 50 minions got attacked by Kayamaru but stood there like a literal statue. He told Shujen to chill out, saying ninjas treat their masters as gods, and since Yamada is the host of this mission, they are 100% loyal. To prove his street cred, the ninja pulled a total bra move, he started singing while literally slicing his own throat to log out from life. Another masked ninja girl added, "We shinobi have no brains, my bad, no free will. We just want to be used as tools. You believe us now?" Shujen was like, "Alright, enough with the theater, get back in line." Isuzu, meanwhile, was looking pale as a ghost. But yo, it was all a scam. Inside their heads, the ninjas were thinking, the village chief ordered a hit on Gabimaru. Since he got sent here first, our mission is to skewer him no matter what. That's our only purpose. Shujen, however, was still woke as hell. No way I'm trusting these criminals. We find the elixir ourselves. Any criminal we see gets sliced, but we save our Yamada brothers at all costs. Poor Shujen still has no clue. Aizen faded out a long time ago and is still praying for his safety. Jika started poking the manager, "We're going to a war zone, not a Tinder date, old man. This ship reeks of gunpowder, it's gonna be a total disaster." And like clockwork, the moment they hit the island, the monsters gave them a warm welcome. Jika dropped a bombshell, "See? No time for friendship, we're all probably gonna die anyway." Cut to Gabimaru's team. Cheyenne was spoiling the news that premium reinforcements from the Yamada clan were coming, led by Shujen. Gabimaru asked, "Is this Shujen guy a friend or an op?" Sajiri answered instantly, "He's the top server of the clan, his combat skills are cracked." Gantetsusai scoffed, "If he doesn't know Tao, he's just a loser on this island." Cheyenne clapped back, "Actually, Shujen can see Tao, he low-key learned it from me. He's a big brain." To prove Cheyenne wasn't capping, the camera panned straight to Shujen. Facing a monster, he handed his sword to Isuzu to hold. Using his anatomy knowledge to find weak spots combined with the Tao vision he learned from Cheyenne, he delivered a single kick that sent the monster to the afterlife. A total perfect student flex. Back at Gabimaru's camp, Nirugai was hyped. "If he's that strong, let's recruit him." Yuzuriha's brain started loading. "Wait, I think I know this guy. There was some major drama, right?" Sajiri retold the legendary story. "It wasn't that big a deal. Back then, the Silver Snake boss got caught and refused to leak his hideout." Shujen pulled up, swish, the head hit the floor. Before anyone could blink, he made salad out of 20 more minions. The bosses loved it and gifted him premium gear. Gantetsusai commented, "Sounds like a straight-up butcher. Must be a villain." Sajiri denied it hard. "No, he's actually super chill and great with students." Right then, Fuji landed a critical hit. Oh, Shujen was Sajiri's first crush. Sajiri turned bright red and started denying everything while Nirugai and Yuzuriha laughed their heads off. Sajiri tried to justify, "I was just a kid. Now it's just admiration." Back then, Shujen threatened the bosses like, "If Sajiri doesn't get a rank, I quit, so that's why I became an executioner." Back to the reinforcement squad, Shujen switched into big bro carry mode, grandly declaring he'd take the lead in farming mobs. He claimed his hands were already dirty and he didn't want his juniors getting stained. Hearing those sweet nothings, Isuzu was absolutely losing it, her knees going weak because her crush was acting as her personal bodyguard. Meanwhile, young Kayamaru took the chance to brown-nose his big bro for all it was worth. Only Jika stayed woke, clapping back instantly. "Hold up, since when were you older than me? Stop acting so extra." Before dropping the final blow, "Let's just slip away already, y'all are doing too much theater." Over at Gabimaru's camp, Sajiri was still being a naive newbie, believing Shujen would help them out of professional loyalty. Cheyenne immediately threw a bucket of cold water on her, spilling the terrifying tea. Turns out Shujen didn't just deal with a few yakuza, he literally exterminated the whole lineage of a 100-man gang, old, young, he didn't care, everyone got the smoke. With his pulling up the grass by the roots extremist philosophy, he sliced the boss's head off right as the guy was begging for his kid's life, adding a "have a better life in your next reincarnation" blessing. Cheyenne hit them with the reality check. "This guy hates criminals like the plague, if he finds out we're here, he'll burn the whole island down." Nirugai felt a chill run straight down her spine. At the same time, Shujen found Aizen's body and started a tear-jerking flashback. Turns out, since he was a kid, Shujen was low-key a psycho. Instead of learning to slice cleanly like Aizen taught, he insisted on using a blunt sword to make the cuts jagged so the victim would feel maximum pain. Aizen totally spoiled his little brother, promising to sharpen his sword every day regardless of the ethics. Back to the present, Shujen was hugging Aizen's corpse and crying like a literal monsoon, making the whole team sob along while they buried him. A ninja hiding nearby watched this whole scene with a massive WTF face. He thought he came to the island for combat, but instead, he walked into a circus act that loves dramatic theater and chanting prayers. He decided to plan a sneak attack on the whole squad immediately. Out of nowhere, a major crisis went down. A net flew out from the void and snatched up the ninjas hiding in the bushes. The culprit? A monster that looked like a literal walking cabbage, holding CD-like plates and banging them like a DJ dropping a beat, summoning 500 monster homies to swarm the place. This cabbage dude wasn't just talk, he was strictly by the book, straight up rejecting Jika's peace talk in talk no jutsu. He basically said, if you want to complain, go talk to my boss Tensen. As a low-level grunt, I don't make the rules. When a net flew toward Shugen, Isuzu and Kayamara jumped in as human shields, refusing to let anyone disturb their big bro's zen prayer moment. Isuzu was swinging her blade like a flying dragon, while Kayamara spun around like Doraemon's bamboo copter, slicing and dicing monsters smoother than a master chef. The ninja girl watching from the side was absolutely shook, forced to admit their skills were designer tier. Seeing the opening, she decided to reveal herself and call her squad to join the combat, believing in the philosophy of quantity over quality, thinking even a top-tier hero would get clapped by a mob. While his juniors were handing out onions to the monsters, Shugen remained as still as a statue. Only when a monster lunged forward to slap his face did he open his eyes, right after finishing his prayer for the dead. Boom! A sword stroke as fast as lightning, and the poor monster was deleted, chopped into pieces. But the most horrific part? Immediately after, Shugen casually smashed his blade against a rock to chip and dull it. With eyes burning with pure hatred, he declared that he would massacre everything on this island, but it had to be the most painful, lingering death possible to satisfy him. The cabbage doshi saw the vibe check was failing and tried to charge up a blast. But before he could move a finger, the scene cut abruptly. Next thing you know, he's buried waist deep in the dirt, his body so wrecked that even his regeneration skill surrendered. Shugen stood there like a literal Shinigami, holding his blunt sword to start a bloody ask and destroy interrogation. Jika, watching from the sidelines, thought it was too much and tried to talk him into going home to report their progress. Instead, Shugen turned and gave him a death stare, calling Jika out for still not drawing his sword and gatekeeping his true skills. It took Isuzu jumping in to mediate before Shugen's heated head cooled down enough to apologize to Jika. He finalized the goal: wipe every living thing off this island to avenge the Yamada clan's honor. Seeing the big bro in war mode, the ninja girl quickly asked for permission to handle the interrogation, since that's her specialty anyway. Cut to Gabimaru's team. Fuchi was dropping some Ta 101 knowledge on how to sense energy to scan the map. The struggle? This radar can't distinguish between friend or foe, making the situation even more chaotic. Sensei Cheyenne proposed splitting the team, one squad to heist the elixir, and another to find an exit strategy. Yuzuriha immediately called dibs on the escape slot because she's terrified of dying. But Gabimaru and Tamiya shut her down instantly. All roads lead to Rome, aka the enemy base, and the sea monsters are so thick you'd be feeding the fish in seconds. Cheyenne then opened an express class on the theory of 5 elements, explaining the buff and nerf mechanics of elemental counters. No matter how broken the Tensen are, they can't escape the laws of the universe. To win, you've got to use your big brain. Even though Yuzuriha was still scared that a single misplay would cause her to log out from the Earth server, she didn't budge when Cheyenne said anyone could leave if they wanted. Surprisingly, nobody moved an inch. Narugai gave the teacher a love tap for even thinking about abandoning his students. Yuzuriha shrugged and accepted the group mission just to have some tanks to soak up damage, while Tamiya was just itching to throw hands with a Tensen. Gabimaru also sealed the deal, agreeing that unity is power. Cheyenne smiled with satisfaction, and the whole team headed toward their goal of escaping this literal hellhole. And that is the end of episode 4. Such a fire episode, especially with Shugen's mentally unstable but cool as hell debut. Can't wait for the next episode to see the team put those 5 elements theories into actual combat.